Yo, guys, what's going on? Lucky Cheese 7 is, well, mind the hiccups, is back again to give you guys another Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest live stream discussion slash review. And we are back with chapter 163. And holy shit. Let me just say that. Holy freaking shit. Because this chapter was nuts in more ways than one, okay? More ways than freaking one. I'll put it like that. Oh man, dude, I'm not even lying. Like I was actually doing okay, and then these hiccups just all of a sudden just popped up out of nowhere. I'm like, what the heck? This is why it's always important to keep a bottle of water on you, or in this case, a jug of water. But okay. First and foremost, usually like I'm like at my A game with these, but hiccups just kind of came out of left field and just threw me off. I'm like, ugh, why today of all days? Like, why this chapter in particular is what I'm saying. Wow. Okay, so let's start this off. Last chapter, we got the introduction of the new black wizard, Faris, right? And I kind of had the assumption that this was Earthland Fairs. Pretty sure a lot of people thought that too, as soon as she popped up. But the big curiosity a lot of people had, wow, the big curiosity that a lot of people had with Faris was what Ignia said. The connection to Acnologia. What is it about her that gives out that sensation? And I made a video last week talking about that. And one of the things that I mentioned in that video was a couple possibilities. She's either a sister, a spouse, or a daughter of some kind. One of those three things. Or, and this was like a wild card prediction I had, maybe, just maybe, within the fight between Ignia and Acnologia, what was the end result of that fight? Acnologia like ripped off like most of Igniel's body, and Igniel walked away with an arm, and the arm just fell into the battlefield. And one of the things I said in the video was, what if someone came by and just took the arm? That was one of the things I said. And that was the thing I mentioned in that video. I was like, huh, I wonder how this is all going to play into the next chapter. The next chapter, we're here. We are already here with 163. So let's just dive into this, okay? Got this nice, beautiful cover page with Mirror Jean and... oh my god, why am I blanking on her? She's from the Grand Magic games. Even I know that. And she went to Blue Pegasus. Shoot. All I know is she was kind of cute. That's the only thing I'll say. She was kind of cute. She'll come back to me in a second, but getting to the actual chapter itself. We got Faris. Faris is here. Black Wizard Faris. Natsu shocked. Ignia shocked. Natsu immediately remembering, oh hey, you're Faris. Like, you seem awful different. And like obviously you kind of got that impression from how she showed up in the last chapter. Especially given that the last chapter was also the end of volume 18. right? This chapter is the start of volume 19. So keep that in mind. Natsu says, "Oh, you, the Fairis from Edlis." And two of like Ignia's students are like, "Didn't the magic of that world go rip rip?" "Yeah, I heard you can't use magic up there." And Faris like lays it all out for us. Like what we all kind of expected. Many worlds exist in this universe, and they are said to all contain versions of the same people. We kind of knew this, right? For example, the me of Edlis is merely a girl living in the countryside, and the me of Elentier is a white shrine maiden who harmonizes her world of magic. Now, I kind of forgot about, not necessarily forgot, but I did kind of keep in mind that the one we've seen is from Elentier. I think I misspoke in the video that I did, saying that was Edlis Faris, but in actuality, it was from Elentier. So, because we never actually got to see Edlis Faris at all, so it's actually good to know that we at least see what that version of Faris is like. So, okay, ordinary girl, nothing too crazy. And Natsu's like, "What do you mean?" And again, she lays it out flat. "I am the Fairest of Earthland." And Ignia is just like, "Hey, hey, 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 hey. I don't care who you are, but I don't want you here. You're a black wizard? Zarev's dead. Acnologia too." And the Signario sisters and Natsu, they're all just like, "Wait, Acnologia? Now that you mention it, why do you feel like Acnologia?" And Earthland Faris says this. She's like, "I am a black wizard and a black dragon. Pitch black wings." And I love Ignia. Ignia just says, "You're pretty interesting, but I'm right in the middle of talking about something important with Natsu." And I love Natsu's dumbfounded reaction. He's like, "Huh? You are? Could you stay out of our way?" And this girl, Faris, she's about to roll open her sleeve. And she says, "You're scared of Acnologia, aren't you?" And you get this amazing double page spread. Basically, the thumbnail of the video is this. This shot, bro, it's sick. I love this particular shot because it was either this shot I was gonna go for, or what's about to pop up, because you see this clash, beautiful clash between both Ignia and Faris, and then you get the reactions from the Flame and Fire Wizard members, including the Signaria sisters, and you see the smug look on both Ignia and Faris's faces. And then the next page, okay? That next page said so much. The dust clears, and you see Faris, her left hand, right? And what does she have with her left hand? Acnologia's left hand. Right? She has the left hand of Acnologia. And that catches Ignia off guard. And Natsu, too, he's like, "Wait, that left arm." And he's like, "Wait, that arm." And she just goes on to say, as we're getting these panels, okay, and dude, like, this was such an iconic moment, too. Linking all the way back to Tartarus. Remember what I said? What was the one thing I said in the video that I did? When it came to the fight against Acnologia and Ignia was like, whole like upper body torso was like just taken out. But Ignia walked away with an arm. And you would think, okay, we're A-okay. He at least took out something in the process. That event did more than change the course of the goal for Natsu. Because remember, all throughout Fairy Tail, Natsu's goal was to find Ignia. And by Tartarus, I mean, granted, it kind of came out of the blue for him, but he did find Natsu. But the big takeaway for Natsu at the end of that arc was to take down Acnologia for killing his dad, right? Now we know there was more to that arc than just what happened to Ignia, okay? Because that battle did more than just change the course of Natsu's goal from. Because again, by that point, he had already achieved finding Ignia. Now it was just a matter of him taking down the guy that killed Ignia, you know? But in a way, but it wasn't done in the same vein as, say, like Sasuke from Naruto. It wasn't like that. Like Natsu still pretty much like kept like the core essence of who he still was, but he knew like deep down when it comes to Acnologia, it's personal. That's essentially what was being set up all throughout, like say the Avatar arc and Alvarez arc, and that's what it was all building up to that final battle. And obviously, the final battle of Fairy Tail game with the Dragon Slayers and Acnologia, for the most part, I thought it was good for sure. Obviously, I think it could have been a little bit better. Yeah, but the thing I do appreciate about the fight is that it wasn't just like a Natsu versus Acnologia fight. It was like a group effort. You had Natsu, you had Wendy, you had Sting and Rogue, Loxus, Cobra. It was cool. It was cool just seeing them all kind of like work together. Even though in the end, yeah, technically they did kind of reach out their powers to Natsu and gave him the final finishing blow to take down Acnologia. But case in point, the outcome of Tartarus again did a lot more because we see this shot. Ignia letting go of the hand. Okay, the hand falls into the fields. Okay, of the battlefield, and we see Faris saying this: "Your father, Ignia, bit off Acnologia's left arm." And she was there. Okay? That's the interesting thing. She was actually, I don't know if she was like actually present when the fight happened, but she definitely showed up after that fight for sure. It gave me power. The power of black darkness. I am Acnologia's will embodied. The one who will destroy everything. Let me repeat that one more time. I am Acnologia's will embodied, the one who will destroy everything. And dude, just look at this face. Look at the face Earthland Faris has. Like, that is a look of like, yeah, okay. I'm not the same Faris. And we've already established this. But who I am, what I set out to do, it's going to be a big change. Big change. But we move on. You see Ignia's reaction. Man shook as hell, okay? But obviously, he tries to keep his composure together. And he looks over at the Signario sisters and says, "Do it." They're both just like on it. And you see what happens. Both raise their palms together, and a bright light of flame appears, okay? That catches Natsu's attention. Same with Faris. And Ignia starts talking. The true Dragon King Festival is already beginning. Natsu questions, like, what is this? And he says, hey, Natsu, in your country, they call defeating the 5 dragon gods the 100 Years Quest. Because it's been 100 years and nobody's been able to defeat us. And again, Natsu's still a little bit like confused, like, okay, like where are we going with this? And you sealed 4 of them away. Seems impossible, right? You could only do that because they never fought you for real. And the way Natsu starts sweating, he's like, oh, hell freaking no. Like, that's exactly what's happening right now. Dogramog had roots all over this continent, and he suppressed my power too. It was all for this day. And you see what happens. And now Faris is kind of caught off guard. She's like, wait, dragonization magic. What? As a bright light just like 4 pillars of light just like beams all over the continent of Giltina. And you see what's going on in Diablos. Celine starts like losing her state of mind. You got Suzaku saying Celine. Same thing with Kiria. What's going on? This dude over here, I forget about his name, but but he's like, you're glowing cha, and then you cut back to the city of Ermina with the manager, with some of the citizens. It's like, no, no way, what's going on? The water dragon god. Oh no! And then you see Caramel, and she's like, Merkphonius-sama, why did you turn into your water dragon? I said water dragon. He is the water dragon god, yeah, but that's not exactly what she says. She says, why did you turn into your dragon form? And that's the end of the chapter. Okay? Now, the one thing that annoys me is we have to wait a couple weeks for the next one. That's the thing that annoys me. Is nothing bad in the chapter per se. I'm just like, we gotta wait 2 weeks for the next one. And here's the thing. Here is the things. When it comes to, by the time we get the next chapter, and I already mentioned this in the Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest episode 1 live stream discussion that I did yesterday, I'm going to be out of town when episode 3 drops. And that same week, we're going to get 164. And because I'll be out of town, I won't be able to cover the live stream discussion like on that day. If anything, that stream is probably going to be saved for Monday. It'll probably be saved for Monday, at least for when 164 does come out. I'll try to do that stream first before I tackle the anime episode discussion for both 100 Quest episodes 3 and 4. But again, that's not going to be for a couple weeks. But that being said, this is crazy, okay? This is just nuts seeing what happened. Because number one, I freaking called it. And it wasn't just me, by the way. I freaking called, the left arm of Acnologia just laying out there in the field. Like think about it. That arm's just laying out there. You wouldn't you wouldn't like imagine someone being like, I'm gonna just ignore it. That arm has no relevancy whatsoever. That's not what happens here. That's not what happens here. Faris like sees the arm and she's like, Now there's one question I do have. Where has Earthland Faris been? Okay? That's the only question I have with this chapter is where has Faris been? That's the only thing I want to know. Is where has she been? Because we have the answer as to how she's related to Acnologia, and it's through, his severed limb from the end of Tartarus, which I gotta say, I love how that event changes everything now. Because not only was it a big deal for Natsu when it came to like his character goal, that event now directly is responsible for the situation that we're in right now with Faris. That's nuts. But keep in mind too, we have Ignia, the true flesh and blood son of Ignia. We have Faris, the new black wizard, who is, the current embodiment of Acnologia himself. Okay? 2 big things from Tartarus was Ignia and Acnologia, right? There's one other reveal that happened in Tartarus. And y'all know where I'm going with this. END, Ethereus Natsu Dragneel, was like the last big thing we got at the end of the Tartarus arc from Zeref. And Natsu Dragneel himself is the younger brother of Zeref, right? So, given that, what are the chances, honestly speaking, And again, that goes back to a discussion video I made earlier this week. What are the chances now of if Theory's not the Dragneel showing back up? Like, things are already crazy as it is. But you have to keep in mind, too, Ethereus Nazi Dragneel isn't exactly gone. Because we saw that tease back in the Water Dragon God arc. After Ignia gave Natsu the flames and he kind of went into his like END like form. That's going to come back into play. I'm 110% sure we're getting that. No, make it better. 200% sure. 200 that we're going to get that in some way, shape, or form. And something I think that's going to happen is that'll give Lucy a bit of a spotlight chance too. But my thoughts on the chapter, again, other than us not knowing where Faris has been this whole time, this chapter was like solid. I'm gonna give it amazing plus. I was gonna go pure perfection, but just that one lingering question of where Faris has been, it's a small nitpick. But it's a nitpick in a good way that has me going like, where are we going with the chapter? Like not with the chapter, but with the series. And also, because of those like lights that was like shining over Giltina, you know what that means. The dragon gods are coming back. Mercphobia is coming back. I think that means Viernus is coming back too, right? Viernus, Dogramag, Selene, Mercphobia obviously being a key example. It's and again, I know a lot of people were saying, dude, this is kind of smooth sailing for 100 Years Quest. It's like we've been going through these arcs a lot. Again, the best one for me still has been the Wood Dragon God arc, but it's like we're kind of taking this a bit smoothly, right? And I kept thinking to myself, there has to be a point in this story where there's a flip in the script, much like how in the original fairy tale manga, Tartarus was what kind of flipped the script. And I mean, granted, that script flipped again when we hit Avatar and Alvarez, but to me, what we're getting so far in 100 Years Quest feels like Tartarus in more ways than one, you know? Like I said, overall, it's an amazing plus. And I'm willing to push it to pure perfection. I am. But let's see what some of you guys are saying in the comments. So let's see. Loxus Renji. I love how action fairy tale female characters get so. I know. See, that's the other thing I love about Hero too, and that's not just with fairy tale. That's like with all his series. We've had it in Eden Zero with, with Hermit, Hamura, Valkyrie, Witch. Rebecca. Okay, I know Rebecca was somewhat sidelined in the last arc of Eden Zero, but Chrono Becca. I mean, even when it comes to Rave Master, Ellie, Belnica, oh, like there's a lot. Okay, that's been Hero's strong suit when it comes to his ability as a writer. He's not just giving all like the heroes and like all the the male characters time to shine. He's giving everybody a chance to shine, and that's just been an apparent thing with him since Rave Master, and that's why I always come back to his series because he makes, for the most part, I'm not going to say everybody, but for the most part, majority of the cast gets their chance to shine in some way, shape, or form, and I love that. And we're still getting that here with 100 Year Quest. Shoot, even like right now with Dead Rock, you had the same thing. Okay, Yagato, Raisin, Honey, Choco, slash Zalesia, and then you had Frey and Mikoto. Like everyone had a chance to shine, and I love seeing that again too. So good point on about that, Loxus. Also, Dragon Force. Let's see what you have to say. This is true. Remember, none of the Dragon Gods fought Natsu 1v1. Natsu needed help. I mean, well, okay, yeah. I was going to say Alderaan, but I mean, you're probably right about that. There are 4 lights. You know what that means. I need all 4 of them. But no, you're absolutely right about that. That's pretty much insinuating that yeah, it is the Dragon Gods, and they are coming back in full force. Full force. All the dragon gods are coming back. Yo, hell yeah, they are. That's the same as Yagata from Dead Rock. Exactly. Exactly. Yo, how many chapters do you think the 100-year quest will be? I'm thinking 200. For this arc in particular? Well, let's look back at when this arc actually started because if I remember correctly, Volume 17 is the end of the Vierness arc, and I know the Vierness arc's been kind of so far like the weakest arc for 100 Years Quest, right? And for me personally, I did like the Vierness arc. I didn't think it was perfect, but it was okay for the most part. Definitely Vierness out of like all the Dragon Gods was like the easiest one to take down. That is like the one gripe I did have with that arc, but you had some good stuff in that arc too, with like Jalal fighting off against God Serena and a couple revelations here and there. But this one so far has been great. But let's see here. So this arc technically started off with 154. So we are currently 10 chapters into this arc. And these 10 chapters, okay. The Ichia one was okay. And then the Cobra one was just funny as shit. I'll say that. So basically, ever since 156 onwards, we've been been good. Been good for the most part. I would argue solidly great in more ways than one, you know? But the last chapter and this chapter in particular, great. Amazing. Downright pure perfection in more ways than one. Now, the one concern a lot of people feel about Earthland Fairis showing up is that maybe that could take away the spotlight from Ignia and say put him into this redemption phase of a character, or make it to where say she takes away his powers and she becomes the end all be all antagonist of the series. Do I think that's gonna happen? I don't know. I don't know necessarily if that's where we're going with this. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time I've seen Hero do that, because you look at Fairy Tail. Well, actually, no, Fairy Tail's a little different because you had Zeref and then you had Acnologia, so there was that too. But and with Eden Zero, you had a similar case where you had Void, but it wasn't like you had an out of left field villain from the Chronophage, because the Chronophage was a thing in Eden Zero that was that was primarily there from the beginning. And then when you get to that point in Eden Zero, it's oh, shoot. It's one of those things in Eden Zero where you don't think would be I wouldn't say super crucial aspect, but definitely when you first see it, it's okay, it's dangerous. But the more heavy relevance that thing had to the story of Eden Zero is huge. It didn't supersede Void in any means. Okay, it wasn't like that. But it was the final thing that Shiki and the crew had to deal with in the grand scheme of things. But in terms of Faris, again, my big question is, where's she been all this time? That's the big question. We know the big one now is how is she connected to Acnologia, and it's through the left arm. That's the only thing we need to know. How is she going to get, not how, but where did she come from? And I had a feeling Hero wasn't going to address that this chapter. I really did. I thought, okay, the most we're probably going to get is how she had that connection. Now, where she came from, I think that's a bigger deal that Hero's going to save us a story for next time. I really do. But yeah, that's just what I have to think. Let's see here. If all the dragons are revived. Oh yeah, did you finish reading the chapter? Yeah, I did. Chapter was amazing. Plus, if all dragon gods are revived with their power, I don't know if all relevant characters combined can defeat them. Yeah, that's true. It's gonna be interesting to see with what happens, because with the situation we're in right now with 100 Years Quest, I mean, keep in mind too, Hero said this was gonna be a serious arc, and so far, with plot point after plot point that we've been getting in just the beginning, okay? Keep that in mind too. This arc is still just like early on. So that still leads me to believe Heroes got more in store for us than what we can possibly imagine. You know? Let's see here. Ignia said that the dragon gods weren't fighting seriously with Natsu. That also includes Viernus. That kind of redemption for that arc. Yeah, I agree. Like, if that means we get Viernus back and it, makes him a lot more than what we thought he was in the Viernus arc, would definitely be a redemption for sure. To be honest, Gray also needs his upgraded Demon Slayer form as much as Natsu's END. See, my big thing about Natsu's END is this. I do think he's going to be able to control it at some given point, but I think initially he's going to be in that state, very similarly to how it was in Alvarez. But the thing I want Hero to do with END's return, simply put, is this. I don't want him cutting away. Because that was the big thing about the whole Gray versus Natsu confrontation, which I know a lot of us were looking forward to. But getting that fight, it was underwhelming because of like how often we were like cutting back to like other fights that were taking place. That's the only thing about that fight that had me going like, okay, the end result of it doesn't really bother me. I think it makes sense from a thematic standpoint because Urza was there, and always being the one to kind of stop the battle that went off between the two of them. Even if, say, the battle that Natsu and Great always had were like for like, gags and like the whole fire and ice being like polar opposites to one another, I get that aspect of it. The end result of the fight doesn't bother me. It's more so we didn't focus too much time on Natsu as END. And what I would like to see is we get a substantial amount of time with Natsu as END before he ultimately gets his full control of that form. That's just what I would want. Like, for how long I would think it would be, even if it's for like 4 or 5 chapters, like consistent, I'd be fine with that for the most part. You know? Let's see what else we got here. But what about the black magic? Where did she get that from? Where did she get that from? Good question. That's another thing. Yeah, where did she get the black magic from? I mean, Zero does have a lot, so I'm pretty sure with how long Zero's been around. Wait, hold on. Now that I think about it, Zero like had a whole kingdom. Remember? And what was he regarded as? He was regarded as like Emperor Spriggan. Now, call me crazy on this one. What if like she was like one of the citizens that was there, that was like present, and like she was able to like learn about like his teachings and whatnot, and maybe that's how she discovered about like the secrets of like the black magic, if you will. Again, offshoot prediction. I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen, but that's just me just speculating here. But good question. Honestly, really good question. What else we got here? Next chapter needs to come sooner, so I'm I'm so hyped right now. Tell me about it. I can't wait for that too. And keep in mind about this, guys. There will be a few discussion videos that I will have like within the coming weeks, discussing about more things regarding 100 Years Quest, especially this, because oh my god, nuts. Ignia said the dragon god. Oh yeah, I already read that part. Let's see here. So the dragon gods won't fight seriously. Yeah, for Ignia. How much do you think the dragon god's power were suppressed by Doggermon? Because if it is a large majority of the power, they must realize that, right? Okay, in that case, what if it was like 40%? Not even 40%. That'd be crazy. What if it was like, say, 50%? They were only fighting each of the dragon gods by like half their strength. If they only fought the dragon gods at like half their strength, ooh, dude, that would be nuts. Not gonna lie. But I think for the time being, guys, like that's pretty much all I have to say when it comes to this live stream discussion slash review on Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest. It was fun. It was a lot of fun, just being here, chatting with you guys, talking about the chapter, and just like just the events that just unfolded. I mean, keep this in mind, and I've said it throughout this entire stream. This event changes everything about Tartarus now in a big way. And what we get moving forward, I cannot wait to see. I really cannot. But aside from that, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm Lucky7. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more fairy tale content. And of course, like I said before, the chapter is amazing plus potentially pure perfection. And that's where my rating stands. So, how did you guys feel about the chapter? Did you guys have any gripes with the chapter? Are y'all a little worried that Fairis might steal Ignia's thunder with the Sark? And where do y'all guys think she's from? And where has she been this entire time? Let me know what you guys' thoughts are. And aside from that, guys, that's pretty much it. I'm Lucky7, and I will catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.